Hello, students. Good morning to you all. As you have requested me to share this PDF in YouTube link, I'm going to send you. So a very short explanation is here. It will be helpful to you in understanding the fact given or placed in this slide. And it will be very helpful to you to answer the selected questions. Keeping the important questions that is very important from the examination point of view, I have kept all these things in my mind and I have prepared it. It is very short videos. I hope that it will be liked by you. Take it as the manuscript or the important source of the facts that you are going to place in the answer of the given questions. First of all, I want to say about the Vienna Congress. Introductory lines are here. What is Vienna Congress? What was the Vienna Congress? What happened in this meeting? Why it was called? Who called it? Who chaired the meeting? I mean, by whom the meeting was presided over? And what decisions were taken? These are the subject matters focused. First of all, this meeting was called by Archduke Matternich. He was an Austrian chancellor who was born on 5th May 1773. When the Treaty of Vienna was drawn up by Russia, Britain, Austria, and Prussia, he was made the leader. He was responsible to head the meeting. He took a prominent part in Congress of Vienna and dominated whole Europe from 1814 to 1848. So now come on the question answer pattern, because this slide is based on such pattern. Question generally comes when the Vienna Congress was called and by whom. For what purpose it was called. So you have to know, you should learn, this meeting was called on 1815 at Vienna. This meeting was presided over by Duke Matternich. He was the Austrian chancellor. Why it was called here, reasons are very clearly written. You have to write in full sentence when you will place it in your notebook for presenting the answer before me to for the correction. So you will have to write here, ticking points are given. You will turn it into meaningful sentences while you will write as the answer. Now, for what reason meeting was called? First, it was called to draw up the Treaty of Vienna. Second, in this treaty, to undo or replace the changes in Europe brought by Napoleon. As you know, Napoleonic wars took place on large scale in Europe, and so many countries were conquered by Napoleon, and he changed the old system. He abolished the monarchical form of government and set up his democratic government, or some different types of government was set by replacing the monarchical form. So in this meeting, it was decided that whatever changes were brought by Napoleon in Europe, it should be removed and old system should be resumed. So second question kya ho, second topic kya ho, to undo or replace the changes in Europe brought by Napoleon. उसके बाद third point है to restore the old society and monarchical form of government in France as well as Europe. As you know, before the European conquest, I'm sorry, Napoleon conquest, Bourbon dynasty was in power in Europe and in France, but it was replaced by Napoleon. So again, decisions were taken to restore it in a Vienna Congress. So its third objective, hence an objective was what? To restore the old society and monarchical form of government. I mean, Bourbon dynasty was restored. This was finalized. This type of decision was to be taken, and later on it was taken because it was the main object. And now, fourth one is to create a new conservative order in Europe. Because Napoleon has brought or led the nationalist movement. Liberalism was followed by him. He opposed the old society system, Bourbon dynasty, or absolute government. But in Vienna Congress, by removing all these things, again, Metternich wanted to set the old system, old order of the day, old order of government that was conservative. So these were the four main aims and objectives for which Vienna Congress was called. I hope that you have understood. Now, next you see what was the main objective, right? What was the main objective of objectives and provisions of Vienna Congress? Objective, just now you have listened, to drop a treaty of Vienna in 1815. Second, according to this treaty, they decided they had gone to decide to abolish most of the changes brought during Napoleon Wars in Europe, and to restore the powers of Bourbon dynasty. Right? Fourth one is to create a new conservative power in whole Europe, France as well as in whole Europe. Now, provisions was decisions were taken. No, decisions were taken. The Bourbon dynasty, Bourbon dynasty was restored again, right? Bourbon dynasty was restored again, right? For example, you know, here, restoration of Bourbon dynasty. It was made a provision. Second, many territories of France were taken away by force by these four powers. Here you should learn. Sometimes question comes, name the four powers, name the European powers who took part in Vienna Congress. Your answer should be, they were Britain, Russia, Austria, and Prussia. These were the four powers who met together in Vienna Congress to decide the fate of Europe after 1815, just after the defeat of Napoleon Bonaparte in the battlefield of Waterloo. So now, third provision, a series of many states were set up on the boundaries of France to check its expansion, because main motto of the powers, I mean big powers, European powers who took part in Vienna Congress was to make France very weak. And they wanted to confine France in a certain area. That is why many new states were formed on the different borders of different sides of border of France to check its expansion. Next, the Kingdom of Netherlands was set in north. Geneva was given to Piedmont in south. Russia was given new territories in western frontiers. And Austria was given control to northern Italy. And Russia was to Poland and some portion of Saxony to Prussia. So these provisions were the decisions or provisions taken in Vienna Congress. So I hope All the points are clearly written here. You can go through the paragraphs printed in your book and chapter, and in such a way, minimum 5 points you should have to write as the answers. If question comes, what were the provisions or decisions taken in Vienna Congress? Okay, now next is, next point is, next you see this. After Vienna Congress, what happened? When they restored the old system, the concept of or belief or concept, idea, or the objective of Metternich as well as the 4 big powers of Europe came on the ground, changed into reality. They were the leading forces. They got success in bringing back to the conservative regime, old system. And it is why in 1815, conservative regime, I mean, different countries of Europe, conservative government was set up. So from the, we should learn what were the main features, common features of the conservative regime set up in 1815. This is the paragraph. Under the topic, it is given just after the Vienna Congress topic, last paragraph of that page, a conservative regime. Question generally comes here, it is written. Now, question comes in this form. How was conservative regime, right? How was conservative regime set up in Europe, right? Set up in Europe. Or what was the common features? ये देखिए, ये question है. Write about the steps taken by the conservative regime in 1815. How was the conservative regime autocratic that was set up in 1815? How was the conservative regime autocratic set up that was set up in 1815? So this type of question is generally asked from this side. So you should be very prompt in this regard. Here main points are written. They did not tolerate criticism against them. Whoever opposed it, because this was the phase of nationalism and liberalism. People were trying to change the old system. Many of them were there. So Matternich, who brought back the system, naturally, the liberals used to criticize the government. So they did not allow them to criticize or oppose their policy. If anyone used to do it, they were caught, arrested, punished. They tried to curb the activities that question the absolute power. No one can ask the king to be unlimited. No one had power to ask for the right or the share in the government. Next, under this regime, censorship was imposed that brought the barriers or break or the gag the person to express their views independently. So people were not free to say against the government, either verbally or in groups or newspapers, books, plays, and songs. So these were the main features or steps taken by the conservative rulers in all over the Europe. तो यहाँ आपको इस पॉइंट्स को लिखना है. आप फ्री हैं. If you can choose some more points in the paragraph that is given, you can add it, but minimum, these 3-4 points must be mentioned. Here, different type of questions can be asked. For example, the government set up in 1815, just after the Vienna Congress, was autocratic. Explain. Or how was the conservative regime autocratic? that was set up in Europe, right? That was set up in Europe. So in this way, you have to learn this point. Now, next come. ये points हम लोगों ने पढ़ने के क्रम में थोड़ा शॉर्ट किया था, तो इसको फिर से आप समझ लीजिए, और इससे भी एक क्वेश्चन बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट, राइट, बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन आता है कि राइट अबाउट द रोल ऑफ one of the most leading Italian revolutionary to the revolution. What role was played by Mazzini, Giuseppe Mazzini, in the European Revolution, or nationalism, or liberalism? Two main types of questions we generally ask. First, write about his role as a revolutionary in France or in Italy, or what role was played by Giuseppe Mazzini in the unification of Germany. So now I want to say that this type of question we will discuss in coming chapter. I mean, the role of Giuseppe Mazzini in the unification of. Here, starting point is here. We have to learn only a few points. What role was played, who was Giuseppe Mazzini, and what role was played in the revolution. So first of all, we have to know he was born in 1807 in Geneva. From very beginning, he was very close to the revolutionary ideas. He also was in against the existing system, I mean old system, monarchy, or monarchical form of government. When he became young, he became the member of revolutionary organization Carbonari. Carbonari was a secret society, just like revolutionary society. At the age of 24 years, he was sent to exile. He was compelled to leave the country and take shelter in our country because of the involvement in a revolution in a country named Liguria. He was charged of treason, right? Because his involvement was seen in the Ligurian revolt. So he was sent to other country. Now, after going there, what happened? He became pure revolutionary, and he founded two underground societies. These were the Young Italy and the Young what? Young Europe. Yes, the Young Italy and the Young Italy was founded in Marseille. It is a place or country in France. It is in southern France. Now, next is the Young Europe. Other was the Young Europe. These two societies were formed to revolutionize the mind of the people in support of unification of Germany or against the monarchical form of government. The members of these committees, secret societies, were like-minded persons. They were of Poland, France, Italy, German states, etc., who were prepared mentally to protest the monarchical form of government for setting up of the national movement. I mean, to start or to highlight, to beef up the speed of national movement. Why did Giuseppe Mazzini do so? Because he had a faith that God had intended a nation to be the natural units of mankind. I mean, he was just against the divine right of the king, who used to say that they were the representative of God, and whatever they did in or they do or will do in the world just will be as the bearer of God's message. I mean, they wanted to be absolute power holders. They were called themselves the nation maker. under the glacial wall. But Giuseppe Mazzini said, the nation should be made by the people, not by the ruler. And with this feeling, he led the unification of Italy, who was divided into many small states. And after all, he got success in unifying Italy, and in whole Europe later on, nationalism spread, old system was replaced, constitutional monarchy was set up, later on democratic form of government set up, and the republic also came in right and in practice. He opposed vehemently to the old, one of the greatest leader of conservative Mazzini. Matternich. That is why Matternich was deadly against him, and he used to address Mazzini as the most dangerous enemy of our society. Is it clear? Now, some assignments that is based on today's meeting, today's short classes. When and by whom was meeting of Vienna called, Matternich, and in 1815, who did preside over the meeting of Vienna Congress? You shall the answer. You can answer also. Duke Matternich. What were aims and objectives? 3 points are given. Just now we have discussed. Mention the provisions. ये भी separate है. Division किया गया किस state को काट करके यानी break करके किस में मिलाया गया. Provisions दिए हुए हैं. या फिर mention the decision taken in Vienna Congress. Last one. अभी तो आप हम लोग कंजर्वेटिव के बारे में पढ़ रहे थे. एक पैराग्राफ भी है आपको कंजर्वेटिव से रिलेटेड. Conservative rule set up in 1815 after Vienna Congress in Europe was really autocratic. Explain. तो इसको explain करना है. Points मैंने दे दिया है. Addition है आपको. And last one है give a brief description about Giuseppe Mazzini and his role played as a revolutionary leader in Europe. I hope you all have understood it well. In case of having any query or doubt, you can ask it in next class, or tomorrow our class will be conducted also. I will conduct the class whenever my period will come. You are welcomed to present your views, your subject problem, your query, and your doubt. Thank you very much.